Most of the Federation shares of crude oil produced in Nigeria is channeled to DCA, which has drastically risen from 10% of Federation shares of oil in the early 2000s to almost 100% by 2023. This is not just a suboptimal allocation issue. In relation to forex flow, it is a key challenge because the revenue of DCA is received in Naira. And that's my way to open your heart to today's conversation on Market Insight this beautiful Monday morning. Of course, it is the first Monday in the month of February. My name is Grace Komolafe, your host, and I encourage you to be part of this program with your comments, your like, and shares. I won't be here all by myself. I have a partner, and we shall be driving the show together. Good morning, Lovina.
Good morning, Grace. I am happy to be here hosting the show. I am happy to be here hosting today's show with you. So on Market Insights, we bring you stock market analysis, commodities, and currency updates.
Of course, and our topic for today is quite catchy because it affects each and every one of us. While you sit back, let's take a break and return to the conversation proper and introduction of our guest. We'll be right back.
Tafawa Balewa Square, TBS. Tafawa Balewa Square was initially used as a horsing ground called Lagos Race Course. The edifice was constructed by General Yakubu Gowon in 1972 and named after Nigeria's first Prime Minister, Sir Tafawa Balewa. Tafawa Balewa Square is located at 45/57 Marse Bangboshe Street on Lagos Island, Lagos, and referred to as TBS. TBS is a 50,000-seater capacity venue and houses the Remembrance Arcade, the 26-story Independence House, which at a time was the country's tallest building. When Lagos served as the country's seat of government, the National Assembly Complex was within the TBS. Also in the square are the National Broadcasting Commission Office, the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency Office, shopping centers, travel agencies, restaurants, car parking lots, and a bus terminal. Tafawa Balewa Square is adorned with beautiful statues of white horses and red eagles, symbols of strength and dignity. Our historic neighbors include the King's College and the Holy Cross Cathedral. Tafawa Balewa Square hosted some of the country's memorable events, such as the Independence Day in 1960, when Nigeria gained independence from Britain, the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, which is celebrated annually on January 15. The edifice is a national cultural asset. Tafawa Balewa Square, Souk Enlightenment.
My name is Ron Gangeji Eze.
Charles Abana.
My name is Professor Martins Emeje.
Professor Sylvester Odion Akaine.
Keep
watching
Souk News TV.
The best news channel online.
It's elevating, it's enlightening, it's educating.
Muhammad Ali found his root in Africa. Rumble in the jungle. I swear the king is humble. Jesse Jackson, O.J. Simpson, this is black history. Andrew Young visit Africa in the late 60s. Legend, Bob Marley make the life different. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X are big names. They fought for black Americans in the old days. We need same revolution in our own ways. Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, Mr. Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre and Eddie Murphy. American prosperity ain't complete with African poverty. It's legendary Idris Abdul Karim, and you are on to Souk News. You don't touch that dial.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is market insight on Soup News. So I told you earlier that this topic concerns everyone, of course, even the layman on the streets. And that's because even when you do not have direct contact with what we want to talk about, I want to believe that you obviously do have with the finished product. And so we will be looking at NNPC, domestic crude supply, and FX issue. What's the problem? What are the problems? What are we trying to solve? What are the possible solutions? Will the cancellation of domestic crude oil allocation be the best way to ease forest supply crunch? Well, these and more are what we'll be looking at today. And of course, we'll have a guest, and Lovina, who will be bringing in our guest.
Our guest on today's show is Martins Onovo. Martins Onovo is a petroleum engineer, a former presidential candidate, and he's also a public affairs analyst, and he's also a member of the Institute of Transportation Nigerian Society of Engineers. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we want to look at domestic crude oil allocation. Let's start with the history, the history of events or policies that led to Nigeria relying so heavily on domestic crude oil allocation.
Well, you must have a domestic crude allocation if you have your refining going on, because otherwise, do you want to import what you produce? Domestic crude allocation was supposed to supply feed product to our refineries. That is the original valid justification. Now, when we had the situation where we deliberately round down our refineries and we had to be importing products, the refineries could no longer use the domestic crude allocation because they were not functioning. So, because of the cost importation, government came up with the idea of many different ideas over the years, but the popular one is the swap. All of them are barter-based. That is trade by barter kind of arrangements. That, okay, since we need to import these products and we're not so liquid, why don't we give you crude of maybe $1 billion value, and you give us the following products of $1 billion value? So that's what it was. It was a trade by barter arrangement. So, and I hear now that the new regime has said no. We go back to, we sell to you, you sell to us. But either way, it's all the same because it's value for value.
Okay, so thank you. Cancelling DCA, do you think is the best way? Is it the way forward?
Well, it's neither here nor there because you need products. So if you cancel DCA and you don't do a barter arrangement, and you sell the DCA, that quantity that you have assigned for domestic use. If you sell it, yes, you will get dollar. But what use is the dollar when you still have to import the products? So it's neither here nor there. If you do a decent barter arrangement, either they are direct sale, direct supply, or they are swap, anyone you do decently is as good as the other. Because at the end of the day, you say if we sell it, we have dollars. If you sell it, you have dollars. The dollars will not be with you because otherwise you shut down the economy. You have to import products, whether you like it or not. If you don't import products, you can't come to work. I can't come to your studio. How do we get here? We get here with transportation. So saying that we'll sell it and we'll keep the money is being naive.
Okay.
You sell it, you have to import products.
Okay.
You use it in a barter arrangement, you use it to get products. So,
okay.
So the more important thing is the integrity of whatever arrangement you have in place.
Okay.
Whether you call it swap, whether you call it direct sale, direct purchase, whether you call it sell and import, the important thing is the integrity of the arrangement.
Okay.
Okay, so previously Nigeria has been producing about 2.3 million barrels per day, and it is projected to increase to 2.9 million barrels per day. So I know we've been struggling with that, but I want to ask you, sir, have we been meeting the OPEC production for our barrels per day?
No, not in the last maybe 10 years. No, we've not. We've not. You see, I'm sorry to say this, but we seem to, in this country, have the mentality that we can reap what we did not sow. We seem to have that kind of mentality. I can get something for nothing. I have a cake, I eat it, but it's still there. How is it going to still be there? So I've seen that a lot in our discussions. It doesn't work like that. If you want to produce crude oil, you have to find it. That's the exploration. You have to develop the facilities for production. Then you have to produce. That's work. I'm a petroleum engineer. That's what I do for a living. That's work. You want to eat corn, but you don't want to farm. You don't plant corn. How do you get the corn to eat? So we have this mentality in this country that somehow, we're going to get things that we didn't work for. We're going to get things we didn't earn. And it is very pervasive. So crude oil will not just flow into a tank for you to sell and collect money. No. You have to search for where it is. You have to find it. You have to drill the wells. You have to complete them. This is a lot of professional work. You have to put the production facilities in place. You have to put the storage tanks. You have to put the export facilities. You have to put meters in place. So it's not about wishful thinking. Work has to be done.
Okay. So rather than exporting crude oil, because I'm aware that, the crude oil will be exported and returned back as petrol.
Thank you.
And some other parts receiving monetary, inflow in naira, not even in dollars. So why not do all of them, do the processing and export other contents, other things you could get from it, rather than exporting crude and taking back petrol, just petrol. A lot of things can come out of crude oil. So what did you have to say to this?
Well, that's simple, and that's valid. That's valid because the people you're importing from, don't forget, some of them bought the crude from you, and you're buying products from them. And don't forget that you have 4 refineries. Don't forget. And that's why I started my discussion that we deliberately round down our own refineries. The refinery in the Niger Republic is working. The one in Ghana is working. So I know what I'm talking as a professional. We deliberately round down our own refineries because of who we are, Nigerian factor. Now we'll go to import. If you were selling products, you will have more revenue. Products are much more expensive than crude oil. And in this country, we have sold products before. So why do we seem to be retrogressing from a point where we could sell products, from a point where we didn't know what to do with revenue, to a point where we are beggarly and borrowing and begging all over the world? So it's not about you do the right things, you get the right results, you do the wrong things, you're going to get the wrong results. So yes, we should actually be refining our crude and getting and selling products after we take the ones for domestic consumption. And that's what the people you're buying from, that's what they're doing. Look at South Africa. South Africa has no crude oil production, but South Africa has refineries. So you can see who's thinking better. But everywhere we go around the world claiming that we're Nigeria, we're smart, we're this, we're that. But we keep behaving like we're not smart. South Africa has no crude oil, but it has refineries. We have crude oil and we have refineries, and then we're importing products. Look at that. We should be ashamed of ourselves, but we seem to have become shameless.
But sir, Dangote Refinery just recently started productions, and they're going to be producing aviation fuel, diesel, and also petrol
PMS,
for
yes.
regular
full range, regular full range.
So
of
will
products.
cancelling the DCA affect the profit margin for Dangote Refinery?
Well, the years of iniquitous mismanagement we have had is now affecting Dangote Refinery. You don't even have crude to supply Dangote Refinery. Dangote is importing crude. So you can see how we have messed up the level of imbecility in our behavior, and then we still go around trying to assert that we're smart. Dangote is importing crude for the refinery. So from importing products, you're not importing crude. What is wrong with us? What is wrong with us? How can we continue behaving like this? And we claim that I went to Unilag, I went to UI, I went to University of Houston. What did you learn there? How to be a thief? I don't understand. And we seem to be proud of, I'm a thief, I'm very proud to be a thief. I don't understand.
Okay, all right, let me ask you this. There's this argument that cancelling DCA, will ease forest crunch. I mean, Do you agree with this?
No, it's deceptive now. If you get the forex,
Yes.
you export the DCE and you get the forex. You can't keep it now because you have to buy product. It's simple now.
So there's either they cancel it or
No,
not.
It's not trying to get something from nothing.
Okay.
Listen, how do you get forex? It's very simple. That's how every country gets forex. You export, you get forex. What do you export? What you produce? You refuse to produce anything. You have nothing to export. Then you are importing everything. My shoes are imported, though. Yes.
So we'll be coming for you.
No, you don't have to come for me. You produce good shoes and I will buy them.
Oh, okay.
Produce good shoes. You don't even have power to produce the shoes.
Can I add, please, that we have people who make shoes within
You
this
know.
country.
Oh, yes.
In
What kind of shoes? So that
Yes,
when I'm
yes.
coming to your studio, the sole is going to pull off?
No, not those kind of quality.
Let's come to it.
Quality shoes
No, let's come to
from
it. I
Abba.
would prefer to buy a Nigerian shoe anytime.
Okay.
Anytime. This is my red cap. It is imported, though.
Really?
Show me the one you have made.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
The ruler your children are using in primary school are imported. What's wrong with us?
Yes,
Okay.
that's true. I know about that.
Pines pencil. What's wrong with us? Lazy people, unproductive. What's wrong with us? And we are proud and we argue.
So let me ask, let me comment here. If we are talking about, getting stuffs, imported, we'll have to, everything you just mentioned, including ruler, as little as ruler. I remember on the program, someone mentioned as small as toothpick that we'll have to, import. Is it that we don't have this confidence in Nigerians, to be able to do stuff? Because I want to disagree with you that there are no really qualities. I mean, I beg to disagree,
Well,
because we see people do stuffs and they come out well.
Yes, one person did one stuff, it comes out well.
Yes.
How many can one person do for 200 million people? Where is the power he's using to do it? You have had another system failure. For 3 days, there's no light in my
So
house.
how do we make things
Hold
work?
on.
Okay.
I'm talking to you right now.
Okay.
For 3 days, there's no power in my house. I'm powered by generators. Public power supply is not in my house for 3 days. And the explanation is that there is a system failure. So which factory is going to produce with this? So that's why I say we argue. This is the kind of argument we put forward.
Okay.
Somebody is making something. How many shoes is he making? There are 200 million people here. We need 200 million shoes. What can one today do? He's making 2 shoes a day.
Okay, so
Let's know that it's about productivity.
Okay.
Why did China move up? China turned the whole country to an industry and started making all sorts of things, even if they were low quality, but are producing something. You can't even produce here. Go downstairs, find the nearest barber. He's using generator to barb people's hair. Find the nearest welder. He's using generator. Or if he doesn't have a generator, he's waiting for power to come. So how is he going to weld? It's about productivity. It's about productivity.
Okay.
You store some of your medication in your hospitals, and they're supposed to be stored at below 4 degrees centigrade, and there's no power. So how do you cool the refrigerators? So you can't just be doing the wrong things and expecting the right answers. The world is not here for your arguments. You just have to be productive. We want to eat rice, we go and farm rice. But in this country, we import rice, you know that. We import tomato paste. So it's not just about shoes. I just use shoes because it's here and now, all of us have shoes. Because somebody can say, I don't eat rice, I don't eat tomato.
Okay, so you mentioned something very important there. You said power is very critical
Oh,
to
yes.
all our production,
Oh,
whether
sure.
it's our local goods or even something as important as crude oil. Now, currently, I don't know, yesterday I would say that there was the national grid collapse. That was why power was, because in my house we didn't have lights also. But right now, I understand the current administration is working on increasing the power output for us. So I believe that based on everything you have said, sir, is it possible that going forward in the future, our refineries, for example, the ones in the Niger Delta parts of Nigeria, would also have very good production since our power energy outputs will also be increasing? because I believe this current administration wants Nigeria to actually be able to produce crude oil. We've started that with Dangote refinery. So going forward, I believe the other refineries in other parts of the country, like in the Niger Delta region, would also start working, and definitely we can start making our own crude oil instead of importing it. Yes,
when you look at these systems, it's better you put them on paper and represent all the parts so that you're not looking at only one part. Okay. Let us assume that your maintenance of and rehabilitation of Port Harcourt is successful. Let us assume Dangote refinery is successful. Let us assume that Kaduna refinery is rehabilitated excellently. Assume. Don't say I said it has been. Assume. Let us assume that Warri 2 has been rehabilitated excellently and they have full capacity. The public refineries, you have 445,000 barrels. So the Dangote, you have 650. You don't even have crude to supply to them. Dangote is importing crude right now. Yes. So, you are back to the same importation. If you had crude, then you can domestic crude, domestic refining, then you can export. That's how you get revenue. Okay. But now you don't even have crude. You're importing the crude. So and to import the crude, when you say import, you think that you just go and import. You pay now. Yes. Yes. And that's the forex demand. That's the forex demand. Because you have to pay. And you're not going to pay Naira to them. You're going to pay forex. And that's the issue. And that's why you don't have forex. And that's why the value of your currency is sliding. You want to be optimistic. I don't want to be optimistic with you. I'm a scientist.
Yes, sir.
I'm a scientist. In science, you know, we do predictions.
Yes. Yes.
And we call it trend analysis. So if a trend is going up, we predict that it's going up. If it's going down, we predict it's going down. But we become sentimental. It's my country, so I lie for my country. You think you're helping your country if you lie for your country? You're saying it's going to work, it's going to work. How many years have they been telling you it's going to work? These same people?
They've been telling us that for a long time.
That's my point. So let's address the issues.
Okay, so if we've been having this for a long time, it's going to work, it's going to work. What mechanism do you think should be put in place? Either by investors, governments, who are those that are supposed to carry out, the mechanisms ensuring that it works?
Thank you very much. It's government. And we are right to blame the government. And the government has failed woefully. The refineries belong to the government. The government appointed the management of the refinery. And it is the management and the government that ran down the refinery. So why will you blame anybody else? It's the responsibility of government. Then it's also our responsibility that we are not able to hold our government accountable. Because we are the sovereign according to the Constitution. But we're not able to hold our own government accountable. So we seem to like it when our government destroys our refineries, when our government officials steal the money for our roads, when our government officials steal the money for our hospitals. We seem to celebrate it and be happy about it. We seem not to be bothered. We seem to be happy. What you tolerate, you approve.
What you tolerate,
you approve.
Approve. Okay.
So we seem to be happy about it, and this is why we're where we are.
All right. Okay. So thank you very much. We've been having talks with a petroleum engineer. He's Martins Onovo, of course. But while we continue this conversation, I think at the moment we need to go on a short break and come back to the conversation. Go nowhere.
My name is Dr. Ajili Tobi.
My name is Etemari Glover.
Naomi, well done, and shout out to Souk News.
Shout out to Souk News. I want to encourage everyone to keep watching Souk News.
Shout out to Souk News, and yes, tune into them.
Keep watching Souk News. They are one in town.
Hey, we're watching Souk News.
Keep watching Souk News.
Keep watching Souk News. Catch them on YouTube and all social media channels.
Hey, my name is Frank Edowo, and I'm imploring you. No, forget that. I am forcing you, coercing you to always stay tuned to Souk News for your news requirements.
All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's still Markets Inside. And then we've been We have a guest. Our guest has been Martins Onovo, a petroleum engineer. Of course, the conversation continues, So I come back to you. Haven't spoken about the refineries, government at fault, and all of that. Is it possible for private individuals to take up this project? Are there policies stopping them not to,
Yes, there are policies. There are constraints. First, which private individual has capacity? Now, where do policies come in? Because you can say, yes, but if they are well established, they can get loans. Agreed. But look at the number of policy somersaults. What is the framework you will use for economic analysis when you know that today there is subsidy, tomorrow subsidy is removed, next tomorrow you are swapping, next tomorrow you want to direct sale, direct. How do you plan with this kind of unstable situation? So you can't prevent productivity and then claim that there's no productivity. A lot of the people in power, how many times now we have had people who became president without WAEC against the law? Against the law. So it's not my opinion. Let us assume we don't care about education. But this is against the law. Bring WAEC certificate, they are telling stories. Is that the kind of person you want to have the mental acumen to complete in the global environment? All over the world, people are putting their best forward. You just won a football match with Osimhen. You want to put me there, you think we're going to win? If you put me, we're going to lose. If you put Osimhen, we're going to win. So you put your best foot forward. You bring people who don't have WAEC to compete with the most brilliant people in the world on the global stage, and you want to win, you're going to lose. It's that simple. So, can private sector do it? Yes. But why are they not doing it? Constraints. Because don't forget, it's the same government that will license you. If I apply now, it's the same government that will license me. And if the government official says, if you don't give me 10% of the refinery, I won't license. I come here and tell Soak News that you see, they are frustrating me. And you put it in the news. After that, what?
Okay.
So go back to government. And it is government that has the resources and the capacity. And that is why we vested government with our authority as a people and vested them with our resources. That is why in America, if you see an oil field in your father's farmland, it's your own. You only pay taxes to government. In Nigeria, if you see an oil field, if you touch it, you go to prison. So it's a different environment. Because our law is very clear. Minerals beneath the ground are controlled by government. That's our law. So government has access to that. So if you see it, government can pay you for your crops and maybe compensation for your land, but you can't have the oil. And that is why some people say resource control. Let us control our resources.
Okay.
So that's to bequeath with themselves with those resources instead of our law bequeaths it to the government. So we are right to blame the government. And these are responsibilities that have been assigned constitutionally to government. If government is not able to do it, then those in power need to leave. We're 200 million people here. We can find people who can do it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, sir, I wanted to ask you, over time, we have always complained when it comes to the production of crude oil in Nigeria. We're always told, oh, it's the government that has the power to do this, do that concerning the refineries. And like you rightfully said, private sector, if they come in, they're still going to be licensed by the government rather. But we've been, as a people in Nigeria, we always blame our government every time there's an issue. Every now and then, anything goes wrong in the country and we blame the government. Shouldn't we look inwards as a people? Isn't it time for us to stop this blaming of the Nigerian government for everything that goes wrong with the country? Can't we just, for once, try to look into having a more practical solution that will benefit all of us as citizens? If you could please recommend one for us right here on the show, instead of always blaming the government. We've had so many people do this over the last few years. Well,
it's unfortunate that you want to take the blame for Lovina.
No, sir.
No. If you don't want the government that is responsible for the failures, you are the driver of a vehicle, you have an accident, you say they should blame your mother who is sleeping in the house. That's what you're saying. Government takes all the natural resources, sells it, keeps all the funds. You want to blame me for the road that's not paved?
No, but we've had people actually spoil our roads in the past, actually.
It is the responsibility of government to arrest those people. That's why they control police. It's not my responsibility to arrest the people. No, it's the responsibility of government. Why are you commander-in-chief, commanding army, commanding the DSS, commanding police, and you will not arrest a criminal? Then you're asking me, without a gun, without training, to go and arrest a criminal? Ha! Okay. Please now, don't cause more confusion. That's why I say we like to argue. This thing is clear. Cameraman has responsibility. Anchor has responsibility. Anchor, cameraman put the camera on the roof. You say blame the anchor. Hey.
Okay.
What is all this argument we bring forward? We just don't want to be productive. These arguments are part of the problem.
Okay.
Something is clear as black and white. We'll be arguing.
Okay. So let me come.
Government just read a budget.
Okay. Yes.
27 trillion. Are you asking me to use my 20,000 to pave road for you? Or what are you people saying?
Okay.
What is 27 trillion for? Okay. For one bear?
No, okay, but you could actually advise the government.
Oh, we have been advising government.
Forward,
we have, everybody has been advising government. Don't even go there.
Okay.
Labor unions have been advising government. The academia has been advising government. Analysts have been advising government. The media, in all this your editorial, you have been advising government. Does government want any advice? Government has a clear agenda. Or the people in government have a clear fraudulent agenda to violate the laws and do all sorts of nonsense, and then we tolerate it when they are supposed to be our servants. And that's why I say that's our own failure, when we tolerate it.
Okay.
We just did an election. Somebody announced fraudulent results. We are tolerating it. Oh, let us continue to tolerate it.
Oh, okay.
So sir, you would say that...
let us continue to tolerate it.
So we as a people need to go out there and definitely start protesting government policies.
No. You don't have to go out.
Okay.
This thing is simple. I mean, there is no one size that fits all. The first thing is that you have a voice. If something is wrong, you lend your voice to how to correct it, not how to exacerbate it and complicate it. By saying, why do we blame government for a refinery that government built with government money? Government appoints the management. Then a man who is welding a barber in a Lekki Beach, you blame him for that? What are we saying? So we have to blame the government because the Constitution assigns that responsibility to government. For example, corruption. I can be corrupt. Maybe I'm the most corrupt person in Nigeria. So what? The Constitution says government should prohibit corruption. So it is the responsibility of government to come and stop me from being corrupt. Yes.
The responsibility of government
is constitutional. Government must stop me from being corrupt. It's there. Why does government have DSS, police, and all this? It's to do those duties now.
Okay.
Okay, how many people do I have in my employment? Government has all the people in federal civil service to do this work. Is it one man that is doing it?
No.
All right. Let's come to another question.
Please, it's government. Don't go and start asking cameraman why do you
really want to hammer on it that
it's government you ask.
Okay, and I will be encouraging that in every way we could. Let's lend our voice. Let's speak. That policies that government would be making probably should be that will be favorable to the economy as a whole. Well, I'm not saying they've not been doing, giving policies that are favorable, but probably the approach, towards...
Well, if they've been doing it, why are we where we are?
Well, it's a gradual thing.
It's a gradual thing. And it's been gradual since how long? Okay.
Okay, so
that's why I said what you tolerate, you have approved. So if we don't tolerate and we say, no, this is not acceptable,
okay,
then it can be redressed.
Okay.
But when we're not saying this is not acceptable, we're saying maybe they're trying their best. What kind of nonsense is that? Were they trying their best in Singapore when they moved from third world to first world? Were they trying their best in Malaysia when they came here and collected palm fruits, and today they are the highest exporter of palm oil worldwide? Were they trying their best?
So if Nigeria...
Was Awolowo trying his best when he put free education and he grew the manpower here?
Okay.
Was he trying his best when he built Cocoa House?
Okay.
These people that have been trying their best, what have they done?
Okay.
Borrow money and fritter it away. And now you are paying the money, and then you're asking, where is our money? You that you were supporting the way they were borrowing the money. 2006, we wrote to Senate President. You are saying, why don't we advise them? We wrote, I have a copy of the letter, to Senate President Saraki to stop, no, sorry, not 2006, when was that? 2016, sorry, 2016. We wrote to Saraki not to allow the government to continue borrowing unpatriotically and recklessly. Saraki stood his ground, refused to allow it. I have what we wrote to him. He refused to allow the borrowing. Immediately frustrated his election, got the next Senate president in place, Ahmed Lawan, and they got it approved. And you're saying we should advise government. The government hates our advice. Oh. They don't want to hear. So if you want to waste your energy, go and be advising government.
Okay, all right. So let me take this question. You know, now there was a time that China had to close all of entrance to their, to the country just to ensure they build the economy, and probably that has led them to where they are today. 70% of our exportations, 70% is actually crude. Most of all of this that goes out, 70% is crude. You get what I'm saying now? Is it possible? Can Nigeria have a situation of such as China, where we decide, okay, we are not exporting, or probably we are not exporting this major element that we have in this country. These are other things we want to do with them, and we want to close the borders, we want to close all the entry and ensure that we build our nation. Is this something that is doable in Nigeria?
Well, there's no one size that fits all, and we have done something similar when we banned the importation of rice. But let me tell you what is more fundamental. In this country, we were importing products, subsidized petroleum products. Yes. So if you want to advise government and you want to be patriotic like me, you will suffer. Now, in this country, we're importing refined products. Some corrupt people, we are exporting them. These are imported, subsidized products across the border to make huge profits in neighboring countries. A custom officer, John somebody, intercepted some of the tankers. He got instructions from his boss to let the tankers go. He refused. They put him through disciplinary process. He was summoned to Abuja for discipline, for doing the right thing. And you don't want to blame government. Continue. All of us are here. It will fall on our head. All of us are here. That's okay. Okay, so let's find excuses for them.
Okay, so let me ask you this. In recent time, it's been talks about NNPC being transparent or not being transparent, and they're allocating their funds through CBN and all of that. In all of this forest, issue, what's the place of NNPC?
Well, NNPC used to be, like you said, through crude oil export, the major source of foreign exchange. But listening clearly, these concepts are very simple. There's no sophistication. I like to simplify everything so that everybody can flow and understand. I said, you have one cake, you have eaten it, and you're looking for it. Where will you find it? Maybe you do surgery and bring it out of your stomach. Now, NNPC was exporting crude oil, and in the past, we were also refining, so we didn't have to import. Yes. So that forex outflow was not there. Okay. Now, the one NNPC gets from importation of crude oil is the inflow you're talking about. Now that NNPC sold our crude in advance, took the money, which is like borrowing, using our crude that has not been produced, sold it in advance to Afro-Exim, to different SPVs. Now you're asking, why are they not making money? The money they have consumed before. They are now servicing. I say, I go to a producer of a TV camera. I say, supply me camera. He gives me a pro forma invoice. It's 5 million. I pay him 5 million. He said, I supply in 2 weeks. When he supply in 2 weeks, will I pay him another 5 million? Then when he supply, Then you start asking him, where is the 5 million why did you supply? You didn't collect money. When he has collected money since. NNPC sold our crude in advance. And the media knew about it because it was in your news. They sold to Afrexim. They sold to many SPVs, consumed the money. When they were saying it was when you should have written an editorial. When you sell everything up front, what are we going to eat tomorrow? Then those of us who come to talk about it, we are seen as troublemakers. That's okay. They sold your crude in advance. They are now supplying for the ones they have sold in advance. So that is the question everybody just say, where is the dollar? Where is the which dollar? And secondly, how much crude do you have? In the 1.7 million barrels a day you put in your budget, how much is your share? Because you wrote contracts of irresponsibility, dodging all responsibility, assigning all responsibility to the oil companies. So when they produce, they take most of the oil because that's what you wrote in the contract. Because you didn't want to do any work. This idea of something for nothing. We're going to be living prosperously. We're not going to farm. We're not going to make any shoes. We don't need power. If power is off, we're going to buy a generator. How?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Martins Onovo. While we try to wrap up, I think we'll just take probably 2 more questions. So,
okay. So before we go, sir, I wanted to ask you, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, as you know, they have been the one in charge of domestic crude oil supply. So, sir, would you suggest that going forward there should be a forensic audit of the NNPC?
Yes, it would be a good idea, but I also think it is wishful. You know why? Only a new government can do that, and that government must have legitimacy, because these things happen from the highest level. It happens from the highest level, so nobody self-implicates or self-indicts. So you don't ask the people who manage the process to audit the process. So the first thing is that you have to have a new government, and it has to be legitimate.
All right, thank you very much. So let me take the last question. So how do we attract foreign investment and then diversification of our export? I think we will be wrapping up with this question.
Wishful. Wishful. I've worked in Europe, I've worked in America, I've worked here. Investors are not charities, so get the difference. A charity is looking for where there's a need. Investor is looking for where there's profit. Do you understand that? Yeah, I get it. Now, which investor do you want to attract when the previous investors, including the GSK that was here for over 50 years, they're on the run? In this country, I must be the oldest person in this studio. I was here when Michelin was producing in Nigeria. I was here when Dunlop was producing in Nigeria. I was here when Lovina said we were doing 2.3 barrels, 2.3 million barrels. I was here.
Okay.
I was part of that 2.3 million barrels. So, we reap what we sow. If we do the right things, we're going to get the right results. If we do the wrong okay, you want investors to come here. If he comes and he gets kidnapped, oh, you think he doesn't listen to the news? He doesn't know that there is kidnapping going on. Any expatriate that is kidnapped here, the whole world hears about it. And then the news is there. Everybody knows what is going on. Who wants to risk his life because he wants to invest? How does he guarantee his profit? And I've told you, investors estimate their profit before they invest. With your policy somersault, every 3 months you change policy because you are trying to hide the previous corruption that you have done. You go from swap to direct sale, direct purchase. You go to import-export. What is wrong with you?
So with all of this,
you don't know what you're doing?
Okay. So with all of this changing of policies and all,
investor cannot plan.
So what is the way forward? I want you to suggest a way forward.
The way forward is simple now.
Okay.
The way forward is simple. We have told you, first, you have to be productive. Productive. Don't be lazy. Don't be corrupt. What do you want to hear? You want to hear that you do blah blah, money will come, dollar will fill everywhere. That's what you want to hear. You want dollar? Okay. You want dollar? You produce things, you sell outside. If you sell it in Nigeria, you get naira. Me, I don't have money to buy Bruno Magli shoe, but I like them. They are made in Italy. If you produce the shoe that is better than Bruno Magli in Nigeria, I prefer to buy that because it's cheaper for me. And it's better. So you have to compete. And you don't compete with mediocrity, with president that does not have WAEC. That's not how to compete.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Martins Onovo. I mean, we won't be able to go, further. We'll just leave it at that for today while we go to the next segment. Martins Onovo is a petroleum engineer and, of course, a one-time presidential candidate. We want to say thank you again for coming.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we go on a short break and return to currency updates. Stay with us.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godi Odidi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Sook News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Sook News.
So I'm happy that Sook TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Sook News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Sook News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Sook News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Sook News.
Keep watching Sook News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching Sook News.
And welcome back to the show. So right now we have currency market.
And on the currency market, of course, it's been dollar, naira, here and there issue, having it rising today and tomorrow you're getting something X. In fact, there is no, you cannot be sure. You can't say this is what you'll be getting tomorrow. You understand? Today you have it this way, tomorrow you have it this way, and you're like, oh, what do I do? Even when you have some naira in your account and you have a plan for it, you might just be, at the end of the day, probably it won't be meeting up.
Yeah,
you already have a plan of a particular dollar you want to spend on something, and tomorrow you are getting something else, a different information, you know.
And the rate at which the dollar is rising to the naira, it's very worrisome, especially the pound sterling and the euro. It's very worrisome. And I believe the CBN president, the CBN governor rather, just stated that they're actually working on ways to reduce it and to actually they're trying to bring up the using people's domiciliary accounts actually. So I'm hopeful that it won't be like this all the time. So the currency markets, as of today, our Nigerian the naira against the dollar is still very high. But we're optimistic that it will actually reduce. Even though I'm remembering what our guest said before he left the studio when he said I'm very optimistic. So right now the dollar is buying at 1,400 naira and selling at 1,410 naira. And the Great British pound sterling is buying at 1,800 naira and selling at 1,850 naira.
Okay, yes, and naira is also buying at, that's for Europe now, 1,500 naira and selling at 1,550, I think. And that's the updates for today. Yes, you can see the difference. And of course, this is parallel markets. Let me remind you again. So this information is actually for parallel market, the unofficial market. So you buy naira, you buy US dollar for 1,400, you sell for 1,410. You buy pounds for 1,800 and sell for 1,850. And naira will buy, euro for 1,500 and sell for 1,550. We don't know what it is. Tomorrow it could be something else, but for today on the parallel market, the unofficial market, this is what we have.
Those are the figures we have for today. Yes. Okay, and so thank you so much for being with us on today's show, Market Insights. It was quite informative. It was quite educative with our guest, Mr. Martins Onovo, and he did explain to us in details about what it means, what the domestic crude oil supply and the forex exchange issue will impact on the Nigerian economy. So from me here, Lovina, I'm saying goodbye, and we're looking forward for the next show on Market Insight. My host?
Yes, of course. Until tomorrow, we'll be seeing you again on Market Insight. I want to encourage you to stay positive, regardless of the situation. Trust me, Nigeria will get better again. We need our collective effort to make it better. See you tomorrow on Market Insight. I remain Grace Komalafe. Bye for now.